Two of the trial is in the books. Meg Thee Stallion has finished testifying. Let me catch you up on what happened in the afternoon session. It started with the prosecutor leading with this. She said, "Hey Meg, I know we went a little fast this morning. I want to slow down." And Meg said, "Yeah, I was a little nervous." And then Meg actually said, these are her words, she said, "I want to feel strong. I want to come off strong," and I didn't. And then she proceeded to testify, and she did come off a lot stronger and a lot more sure of herself in the afternoon session. There were powerful moments talking about, "He shot me," talking about the pain and the trauma and the emotion this whole situation has caused her, talking about how she initially did not want to do this. She wanted to try to protect Tory. And so there were very powerful moments of the testimony. She explained that ultimately she did decide to go to the police and say that Tory was the shooter because of the false narratives that Tory had put out there. In her mind, she felt like she was a grown woman. She shouldn't have been hanging out with these people, getting involved in this mess. I'm not quite sure who these people that she was referring to when she was like, "Oh, I shouldn't be hanging out with them." She was hanging out with like Kylie Jenner, her assistant, Tory Lanez. So I guess she just meant Tory. I thought that statement was very indicative about how Meg feels about this whole situation, which is basically that she did nothing wrong, she had nothing to do with this mess, and she just wants to be completely removed from the whole situation. She denied that Kylie Jenner told her to leave. She denied that the security guard and Kelsey had at one point left and then came back because she said, "I want to go back to get Tory." She said that it was the security guard who wouldn't leave without Tory, and that's why she was there. But at the same time, she also admitted that she didn't want to leave without Tory. So again, there was a lot of this. She just didn't want to say anything that made her image look bad, and I don't know why. She denied that there was any sort of relationship between Kelsey and Tory, which could have led to her being accused of going behind Kelsey's back. And in the car, she admits that in the car, Kelsey accused her of going behind her back. So I don't know how she's denying that there's no relationship between. The defense attorney asked her, "Hey, what did Kelsey mean when Kelsey said that this isn't the first time you've gone behind my back?" And Meg said, "Oh, I don't know." Then we get to the shooting sequence, and I think the defense attorney did a really good job here focusing on the fact that, hey, did Meg Thee Stallion actually see who was shooting the gun? I don't think there's any doubt that 5 shots rang out. The question is, who pulled the trigger? Was somebody pointing at her, and who? The defense attorney established this, that Meg is in the front seat, front passenger, that Kelsey is directly behind Meg, and that Tory is in the rear passenger seat. He got Meg to testify this. Meg gets out of the car. She walks a couple steps to the front of the car by the absolute front. And then she goes a couple steps beyond that. All of this took a couple seconds. Within that time, apparently, Tory Lanez has made it from the rear passenger seat to now being on the passenger side. And from the passenger side, he pulls out a gun. She said he pulled a gun. From where, it's not clear, but he pulled a gun. He points it at her and shoots 5 times. Right before shooting, he yelled, "Dance bitch," leading her to turn around and then see him with the gun. He pulls it, points, shoots, 5 shots. Where's Kelsey in all this? She has no idea. What does she then do? She then crawls away. The part that the defense attorney focused on is how, in a matter of seconds, does he get from the rear passenger to having a gun in his hand to being on the passenger side in position to shoot over the window at you, all in a matter of seconds. To me, there had to be something else that happened in that sequence of events from the time she got out of the car and the time the shots rang out. And then she completely denied that there was any sort of altercation between her and Kelsey. As to whether there was an altercation between Kelsey and Tory, and there has to be some altercation because there's a fingernail on the ground and there's jewelry on the ground. And so and Kelsey has blood on her. Kelsey has her swimsuit strap ripped off. So how did that all happen? And apparently there was a bump. She says that I saw a bump between Tory and Kelsey, and I guess the prosecutors will use that to establish why Kelsey has got her strap ripped and jewelry on the floor broken and a fingernail lying on the middle of the street. Bottom line, her testimony was strong, it was powerful, it was a victim telling you that a man shot her. All right, so from here, I think there's 2 important issues with this case. One, what are the other witnesses going to say? What's the driver going to say? What's Kelsey going to say? And what is the there was a homeowner who lived there, who's in the house that is very close, very adjacent to where all of this is unfolding. He would have seen and heard a lot. He's going to testify. The other thing, the defense did a really good job of establishing that, hey, Meg's timeline here of in a few seconds, Tory gets out of the rear passenger, gets onto the passenger side of the vehicle, yells, "Dance bitch," pulls a gun, lets out 5 shots. There could have been a lot more that happened there in that sequence, because that's a lot of things happening in a very small amount of time. And it is not clear from Meg's testimony that a jury would go ahead and say, "Oh yeah, that man pulled a gun and he was shooting out." I could see the jury looking at that testimony, looking at that sequence of events, saying that doesn't add up and that means reasonable doubt, or looking at it and saying, well, okay, maybe something happened here, but did this guy intentionally pull a gun and shoot at this woman? No, maybe there was another shooter, maybe there's another explanation of how those gunshots rang out.